let's chat about some questions we get in the office. One of the first ones we wanted to chat about was one that we get pretty frequently. A patient comes in and say, hey, my other doctor advised against chiropractic care. Why do you think that happens?
My first thought goes to, I think there's I'm going to call it an innocent level of ignorance of what is happening in the chiropractic office and the safety of a chiropractic office. Because we don't just hear this from medical doctors, but I have patients who say that, hey, my kid's pediatrician said don't get them adjusted. Or their doctor of physical therapy will like, no, you don't need chiropractic. Or the OBG will say, no, you don't need it. And so there's many different types of doctors that are saying, no, don't go there. But what's funny is I have patients in my office with all those types of titles. And when they come in and they get to experience and I get the chance to explain the depth that we go through when we're evaluating a patient before we figure out what a patient needs and what chiropractic is actually doing, and they get to actually understand the fundamentals behind what chiropractic is doing, they become the best patients.
Yeah.
They probably refer the most patients because they get it, right? They get how safe it actually is and how beneficial it actually is. So I think that when people are saying, no, don't go, I think there's just a complete level of, no, they don't really understand what's happening.
Yeah, I see that too. Oftentimes it's just, they see something on Instagram of someone's neck getting pulled and like, oh my gosh, that looks scary. Yeah, you're pregnant. Don't get adjusted. But if they only knew what is actually happening to these patients, like just to dive a little deeper, let's say people were getting hurt with an adjustment. Between you and I, we've adjusted thousands of patients, and through our network and family who's chiropractors, like thousands, hundreds of thousands more. If chiropractic was injuring people, we would not only be plagued with bad reviews, but we would not be in business.
Yes.
And the opposite is true. Like people are getting great results and not leaving bad reviews from injury. So not only is it not happening, but people are getting better. The second thing is just looking at statistics, like risk evaluation. If I was sending my daughter in to get adjusted and I wasn't a chiropractor, a good dad would be concerned of like, hey, what is the actual risk of something happening here? And one of the ways you can tell that is through, oddly enough, malpractice insurance. So you know the numbers on, and malpractice insurance is how much money you have to pay to protect yourself from something bad happening in your office, so then you're not like liable or you're covered. So we can kind of compare a couple of things. So you got those numbers?
Yeah, so if you were to just look at your general physician, general primary care doctor, their yearly malpractice insurance ranges between $10,000 and $20,000 a year. Okay, I pay as a chiropractor between $1,000 and $2,000 a year.
Yeah,
$1,500 to be exact.
Yeah, I think I pay $1,800.
Yeah, $1,500 a year is what I pay. So that is 10 to 20 times the amount that they're paying, which then if I'm going risk to what we're paying, that's a 10 to 20 times greater risk that you're getting when you're going to almost a physician's office than ours.
Which we don't bat an eye at.
No, because again, we know that there's time and places of when you're supposed to be there, which is great. But the reality is, if you're just looking at, again, the numbers there, it is very, very, very safe to be in our office because the amount of injuries or the amount of times you're seeing something go wrong is so slim. The only reason people do get crazy is because whenever there is that one time that something happens, it gets blown up all over the news. But think about this. If they were to blow up every single time something went bad in a medical doctor's office, it would be daily, hundreds of times daily, you would see that happen. But you just don't see it, right?
Yeah.
And then you talked about a safety perspective. So there was actually a study done to look at the amount of force that's going into someone's spine when they're getting an adjustment to see, is it safe? Because the question I've gotten before is, hey, I'm concerned that you're going to, break my neck or you're going to crack it.
This looks like somebody I've seen in spy movies of breaking the neck. Like, why won't that happen?
Good old Steven Seagal is going to come up and snap it, right? And it's funny. But so they've done this thing where they took sensors on a chiropractor's fingers, and then they delivered a adjustment to the cervical spine, okay? And they're measuring how many newtons of force is going into an adjustment, Okay. And when you're doing an adjustment, it's around 100 newtons is what you're seeing, 70 to 100 newtons of force into a cervical adjustment. Okay.
Okay.
Then they looked at how many newtons would it take to break or dislocate somebody's spine? 3,000 to 4,000 newtons.
3,000 to 4,000 newtons is how much it would take to break. And how much do we put in as chiropractors, did you say?
Between 70 and 100.
Wow. Okay. So
Not even close.
not even close. Yeah. So we can safely say, like, there is a near zero risk of getting adjusted. I
Totally.
mean, that's why we see everyone from elderly patients in their 90s and even centenarians to babies to people between. So no risk there. Let's talk about where the risk is. Really, there's one big area that I see the risk being overlooked, and that is doing nothing. Like, someone comes in, they say, oh, I don't want to get adjusted because there's a risk. It's like, well, have you evaluated the risk of not getting healthy? Like, there is a massive risk there. If you just look at the stats, like 40% of Americans are suffering from one or more chronic diseases. The average amount of time that someone will spend in their life in poor health is 9.9 years.
Wow.
That's like the last 10 years of an American's life is spent in declining health. Number of prescriptions filled on average a year by a 65-year-old patient in America is 12. Like, these are things we've just accepted to be normal, but are not normal.
Right.
It is common, but that is a way bigger risk than we realize. So I really think if you're evaluating health from a risk standpoint, it's way riskier to be average standard American and getting all of those health statistics than trying something different like chiropractic and having all of the side benefits of that go with it.
One time I had a patient, he came in, had headaches, really bad headaches, long time. Of course, you go to your typical doctor and you have headaches. They're going to prescribe different medications to try to help the headache. It didn't work. So then now he's on more medications. So he found his way into my office because he knew that it was helpful, but he was nervous because, again, he's heard that there is a risk. So he comes in, explain to him after we've done diagnostic nerve scans to see what's going on with his nervous system. We've done digital x-rays to see the structure of his spine, the position of his spine, the alignment of his spine. I sat down and told him, hey, this is why I think you're having these headaches. There's a cause to this. It's a structural cause. The reason you're not getting help is because you're trying to fix this structural cause with a chemical solution. That doesn't make sense. And I go, this is what we should do. And he goes, well, I'm concerned, because going back to what you were saying, he's like, I'm concerned that if I get my neck adjusted, it's gonna get worse. And I said, my concern is if you leave your neck like this, it will get worse.
We know it's going to get worse.
It will get worse.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, no. If you can get in there and find that this is what the root issue is, delivering a safe adjustment followed by everything else that we kind of do in our offices to help correct spines, right? This is how we get back to the root cause safely.
Yeah, agreed. To any doctor who is concerned about the safety of chiropractic, I would just say, like, hey, look into it, come experience it for yourself, read the stories of patient after patient after patient having great responses. My best patients are often in the medical field because they see it firsthand, they experience it, and they know that the other options oftentimes don't work nearly as well.
Yep.
Yeah, great. Let's go to another question. This is another one we get through a lot. When we get people adjusted, oftentimes they start coming in on a frequent basis, but then after that, we continue seeing them for care for that can last a lifetime. Sometimes we call it lifestyle care. Other times it's called maintenance care, but coming in on a frequent basis. So here's a question. Why are my maintenance adjustments still important if I feel better? Like, why do I need to get adjusted regularly?
So this is one thing that I love to talk about because when we've taken this concept of maintenance and we've learned it really well in other areas of life, like the dentistry area have done a great job pre-framing the importance of brushing your teeth daily, even though you don't have a cavity. Brushing your teeth and flossing your teeth every single day because you want to maintain the health of your teeth. Nobody bats an eye at that. Nobody goes to the dentist and says, that's ridiculous. I have no tooth pain. I shouldn't have to brush my teeth. but you do it because you want to preserve and maintain the health of your teeth, even though there's no issues, right? Well, this is one of the things I look at is that there is nothing in your life that is of value or that is of importance that does not require maintenance. Everything requires maintenance. My car requires maintenance. My relationships require maintenance. My health requires maintenance. In fact, I would argue that of all the things that you have in your life, your health is the biggest and greatest asset you have. Most important asset you have, right? Because if I lose my health, then all the other things don't matter anymore. So yes, there should be things that you do to maintain and preserve your health on a routine basis, we'll say. And in our office, we call it the 5 essentials. So there's 5 essential things that we do for the rest of my life. In fact, Simon Sinek wrote this book called The Infinite Game. And I like to use this contrast that there are things that are finite, there is a start and there is an end. Chiropractic care, or the health of the 5 essentials and maintaining your health, that is an infinite game. Forever you will be doing things to take root in your health, right? I'm going to eat healthy forever. I'm going to exercise forever. I'm going to minimize the toxic load in my body forever. I'm going to try to manage stress and get good sleep. And I'm going to be trying to help understand how my body works and teach that to my children forever. Mm-hmm. The neurology of your body that controls and manages every function of your whole entire body, the one system that regulates every other system, that's what we say you should take care of forever. And I don't think anybody would argue with that.
Yeah, that's so true. Like, when does your health stop becoming a priority? It's like, oh, never. There's a pastor, chiropractor who got diagnosed with brain cancer, and long story short, dramatically healed, amazing. But he was asking the people who gave him his recommendations for his nutrition and, all the rigorous stuff he was doing of like, hey, how long am I going to have to keep living like this? Like eating this way, exercising this way, writing in my gratitude journal and praying this way. And the answer was some form of like, well, how long do you still want to keep serving like on mission? Mm-hmm. How long do you want to stay on mission and keep living a life that is not about you? It's like, that's the answer. So it should be, we treat health the same way. Mm-hmm. And whether you feel good or not, that's really a whole different topic of what's important. But I think that's a major pitfall that people fall into. And it goes right back to the maintenance thing of like, oh, do I just treat my pool when there's algae growing in it? It's like, no, you prevent it. Mm-hmm. But with health, for some reason, we've gotten into the state of, if I feel good, I'm good. If it ain't broken, don't fix it. Yep. And in chiropractic, there's a saying of pain is the last thing to show up and the first thing to go. Mm-hmm. Last to show, first to go. And that is so true. Like, if we take care of the body before there's symptoms, you are not only preventing problems, but you're living out in a way that's your optimal performance or your optimal potential. That's where we want to be. Like, why would you want anything less than that?
I think that if we were to track this back as far as we could, to go see like, where did that message get distorted, right? Because chiropractic started 1895. Mm-hmm. So if I'm thinking, where did this message get messed up? I think that we can probably all agree that Big Pharma along the way has this place where they say, hey, no, don't worry about prevention. Don't worry about proactive care, because you're fine. And then we know that we're not fine. But then once your health becomes not fine, don't worry, we're here with your magic pill.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes, the mindset has been messed up to say, well, hold on. If you would just proactively keep taking care of your health, you'll never need the pill.
Yeah.
Your body should be this temple that you're always taking care of, and you don't need to have this. So I think that's where this distortion came from, where it was like, oh, well, no, don't be proactive. But I think now, I would honestly say, I think the times are changing now, where more people are coming into
totally.
my clinic, and they're now saying more than ever, no, I don't want another shot. I don't want another drug. I don't want another surgery. And they're knowing that prevention and maintenance is something that should keep happening. I think it's turning, but I think that, we still need a long way to go.
Yeah, it's totally turning. People are asking more than ever questions that are focused on prevention instead of intervention. Like, mm-hmm. We've done that. We've lived that through all the different medications. I think there's a couple of reasons why people have woken up to it. But I see the same thing.
I have a question on this question. would be, so if a patient were to come in and talk about, hey, yes, I know that there are things that I have to routinely do to keep my body healthy, with chiropractic specifically. So we recommend typically someone when they're maintaining, right? They're getting adjusted somewhere between once a week to twice a month, somewhere in there. Why, like, I know that we do this for my family, and I know you that this is what you do for your family, right? Authentically. Why do you see that that is kind of like the sweet spot, so to speak, for helping people and maintain?
That's a great question. So there's some data to back this up. So they did a study in rabbits where they bound their legs for a certain period of time, and so they couldn't move. It's kind of a cruel experiment, but just follow this. So, and then they looked at the joints of those rabbits' legs, and they saw that within 14 days of a joint being immobilized, they started to see the beginning changes of arthritis.
Right.
So 2 weeks is not just because it's twice of 1 week. It's like, no, this is important. If you want to maintain and keep your spine from everybody decaying and getting worse and arthritic and stiff, then you can't let your joints be out of alignment for more than 14 days. That's where the 2 weeks come from. Yep. So that's a great maintenance level. Now, for somebody who has higher stress in their life or a more active lifestyle, and they want to be always improving, once a week is fantastic. Like, that's where a lot of people live in the office, is getting adjusted weekly. And they can tell, not from symptoms, but like, hey, my sleep is better, my mood is more stable, I'm more alert, at a weekly adjustment. Once you go beyond the twice a month adjustment, things start going in, like, you'll still benefit from chiropractic. Don't hear me wrong on that. Like, I love you getting adjusted if you're coming in less, but you have to realize the way the world has loaded us with stress, a once a quarter or once a year adjustment is not going to combat the just inevitable stress and decay into the spine. And I love the lifestyle pieces that we talk about. We teach on them, nutrition, exercise, like all of that. But there is a very particular stress that comes into the spine that has to be addressed, or else a lot of the other stuff doesn't matter.
So there's, I don't know if this is, I don't have a study to back this piece up, but I love that you shared that study, because again, there's not some mythical number we're just making up for patients. No, there's a reason why we recommend what we recommend, right? But I think that there's something about this once a week or twice a month thing that is kind of a universal thing, meaning that, you know, whether it's me taking my wife on a date night to maintain the health of my marriage, once a week or twice a month at minimum is kind of that sweet spot to keep the marriage going really well. But when you look at the amount of stress coming in, like you said, I don't think there is a cookie cutter answer. Usually what I'll similarly tell my patients is, hey, yes, this is a good baseline. However, when you're in seasons of your life where stress is higher, what you do to help your body mitigate those stresses also need to rise, meaning that my adjustment frequency should go up. My level of prayer and my level of mindset should go up. I should get more sleep during this time to help my body recover. All of my recovery, all of my health things should go up when the level of stress in my life is higher, right? And then when everything is lower, yes, your body now can come down and we can do less things, because the goal is, how do I keep, like you said, how do I keep my nervous system and keep my body one step ahead, so we don't let disease and we don't let dysfunction and we don't let a dysregulated nervous system take root. We want to be one step ahead. And I think being a little bit mobile with your seasons of life and being aware of, hey, when times are harder, go up. And we see this all the time, like in the holidays, right? I don't down that rabbit hole, but in the holidays, we see this all the time where stress is higher, everything's higher, sugar's higher, everything's bad. And when we like pulled away from all of our good stuff, and what do we see? Health goes right down. Yep. So this is where I think that weekly to every other week is the best, where unless it's even twice, sometimes I'm in a twice a week state.
I have athletes who get adjusted twice a week, just for maintenance, because their life stress is way higher. Yep. And I think you're just touching on the truth of that. We know, whether it's in this conversation or about kids, like, it's much easier to stay healthy than to get healthy. Yeah. Like, you could make the argument like, hey, when I'm hurting, I'll just come in more. It's like, well, now not only do you have to come in more and spend more money and more of your time, but you're also having a terrible time because you're missing out on the birthday because you were sick. You're missing out on the vacation because your neck, you can't move it. Like we see that every day. And it's, I feel for people, but it's like, hey, who did this to you? Oh, you did. Like, let's think better next time. Let's do better. That's why.
It's good.
Yeah. Let's talk about wobble cushions.
Ooh.
So all of our patients, some of you, if you're watching this, you might be sitting on one right now.
Come on.
Let's just generally talk about a wobble cushion and like, why is the wobble cushion important? Why can't I just use a yoga ball? Like, what is the purpose of this wobble cushion besides it making me look funny?
I even had people say, can I just like twist my body like that? I was like, if you could, then there'd be no invention of this thing. Like,
yes.
No. But so one of the biggest fundamental reasons we do this is our lifestyle is so stagnant that the spine stops moving.
Yeah.
And when the spine stops moving, this is where we start to see degeneration happen.
100%.
This is where arthritis starts to kick in. This is where basically when we think about this concept called imbibition, which is when you're utilizing the motions you're doing on the wobble cushion, your body is taking the nutrients around and then pulling them into the disc to hydrate the disc and to keep your discs healthy. That happens when you're on that wobble cushion. So doing every direction that you're doing, you're allowing every single motion to help pull in and basically squeeze nutrients back into the disc, but then also it's keeping the muscles and ligaments around it also fired up and working, because there's been studies that showed when we just sit stagnant like this, specifically the multifidi muscle, part of your stabilizers in your spine, literally shut off.
Oh yeah, this is good.
They stop firing. Your brain no longer sees it. So if the brain no longer sees it and those muscles do not recruit, you know this if you're listening because you're the person who you've sat at your desk typing all day, and then the moment you go to get up, you kind of go like, oh, like you try to like do this like stretch and you feel like your back's like not listening.
Yep.
It's not listening. You're correct because it's shut off, right? So one of the things that I tell patients all the time is if you have a desk job, bring your wobble disc to work with you, and then every hour at least pop it in there, do a couple motions to wake up the spine, get your disc moving, and then take it back out and go back to work. But you can't just sit there for 8 hours a day and think that your back's not going to start to rot.
Yeah, that's huge. This is why when people come in with like a thrown out back, or if you've ever thrown out your back before, it likely wasn't from lifting up something heavy.
Yeah.
It was likely picking up like a pair of shorts or bending over to tie your shoe. It's like, wait, how was that all it took? It's because your muscles and your lower back was completely turned off, and then the weight of your body flexing and rotating without the muscular endurance there, push that disc or push that joint, and now you got a spasm. So the wobble cushion is huge for keeping that from happening.
Yep.
And also the imbibition, really cool study. So I think of it like pumping, like the tides. You got to get nutrition into the disc and the waste, metabolic tissues, all that waste out.
Yep.
That has to happen twice a day. There was a cool study back in the 80s. It's a physical therapy study. They looked at it like if you're doing lots of spinal motion, like you're living an active lifestyle, using things like the wobble cushion, it's happening twice a day, and that keeps your discs healthy. And side note, your discs don't have blood flow after the age of between 10 and 15.
Right.
Blood flow largely stops because your body knows like we're going to get blood in and waste out through movement. But our lifestyles these days are completely sedentary.
Yeah.
So if we aren't moving, instead of it happening twice a day, which is normal, it takes 500 days for it to happen once.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So we wonder, like, when people say, like, oh, like, I didn't even do anything, I just happened. It's like, no. This has been a dysfunction and a compensation for a long time. And this is why your back hurts. This is why you're getting shorter. This is why you look on x-ray and there's arthritis. Like, this stuff doesn't happen overnight. But the magic is that the wobble cushion helps prevent all of that. The second piece to this is that the wobble cushion is a very specific diameter to where when you're wobbling, it's going to focus the motion directly into the lumbar spine. You increase the diameter, like on a yoga ball, it's still great. Get motion, like, yes, mobility, I love it. But you'll notice, like, just try it. You'll feel the motion not as focused in your lower back. You'll more feel it in your mid back or in your ribs. So the wobble cushion that people are sitting on is really designed to focus in the lower back and prevent all of that compression from happening that's so common.
I would even just add in, because I know that there's people who probably use a yoga ball as a chair for their office space sometimes.
Yeah.
Here's my caveat. That is fine if you have a very strong posterior chain and you can hold good structural posture on that for a long time.
Yeah.
And I say that like that specifically because if you're someone who does that, you're probably that person who's like slumped over on your yoga ball.
Yeah.
And you're thinking you're doing yourself better, but it's not, right?
Yeah.
So it's like that cushion is designed for an exercise. That wobble cushion is not designed to sit on it for 8 hours. It's designed to exercise your lumbar spine. So similarly, a yoga ball is, you're using it for an exercise. I would be very cautious to use that as a chair that you're sitting on while doing work for a long period of time.
Agreed. And this brings up another question of like, hey, doc, what's the best ergonomic chair for my office? And the answer is there isn't one.
No.
You can't be in a same position for 8 to 10 hours and expect your body not to hate you.
Yeah.
The magic is in the motion. So I don't care if you're in a wooden stool. If you're getting up, ideally every 30 minutes to change position, throwing in the wobble cushion, actively sitting on a yoga ball, taking a phone call on a walk, like that's the best ergonomics is mobility. Like you got to keep the spine moving, but it doesn't make sense to sit on a wobble cushion or a yoga ball for 8 hours or the $5,000, anti-gravity chair where you're leaning. Like,
No.
it looks cool, but
No.
it's going to be a problem.
One more study to back this up even more, I would say, from a bigger perspective, I would say, is a guy named Roger Sperry, right? Roger Sperry got a Nobel Prize for figuring this out, that proper movement of the spine create about 90% of the nutrition and health to your brain. So the CSF flow going through your spine, nourishing your brain, comes from proper spinal movement. What are we not getting all day if we don't move our spine? Not getting proper spinal movement, right? And our spines are fixated all day long. So when you're doing that, one of the things people notice a lot, like when people are actually doing their wobble exercises, some people come up and they're like, hey, I feel more alert, I feel more awake, I feel more like cognizant. And like, yeah, you just nourished your brain by getting proper CSF flow up there. So it is, even more than the spine health there, you're also getting brain health when you're wobbling and properly and more consistently.
Yeah. Oh man, there's so much I can talk about, but let's go into another question. This is super common. Doesn't chiropractic just help me with back pain?
Yes.
Can it really help me with other things? And this is a big question because it goes into more of what we were just talking about. But what would you say to that? Like, isn't it just good for back pain? Like, can it really help me with like neural drive and anxiety and all this other stuff?
So when people come in my office and if they're a new patient, on purpose, because of this question or this, thought people have, on purpose, when they come into my new patient exam room, on the wall, and I know in some fashion you have a similar thing, but on the wall, there is this huge testimony wall of patients who have overcome everything but back pain.
Yeah.
I have everything else but
I have
back pain
on there, but other things
yeah.
too.
But the reality, because most people are coming in, with a back pain thing.
Yeah.
But I want them to have this answer that it's not coming from me saying this, but I want them to see that, yes, people have gotten their thyroid numbers better. They've gotten their digestive system better. They've helped with infertility.
Yeah.
They've helped with all these other things that you would never typically connect to chiropractic. And they're seeing it firsthand from these patients. And it's not just me saying it, right? So, I want them to see that. But to answer the question, the reason why chiropractic has such a profound impact on all sorts of different health concerns or health conditions is because when we're adjusting the spine, we're not just adjusting the bones, but we're influencing the nervous system. And when you're influencing the nervous system, anything that nervous system controls or regulates will be impacted as well, right? So if we're impacting the central nervous system, and then as your nerves are coming out and communicating to every other organ, cell, and tissue and hormone and other biological function, if there is a problem with that area and we restore function, you restore alignment, then whatever that nervous system area is communicating life to is going to have a more restored communication pathway. And now that area is going to start to function more appropriately. And you're going to see the innate intelligence of the body expression come up. And now you're going to see something heal. And this is why people come in and they go, man, I don't understand it. You've been just adjusting my back, but all of a sudden I've got regular bowel movements again. I go, this is why.
Yeah. Now, wait, are you saying that chiropractic can cure things, Mike?
We cure it all. No.
This is a common question.
Yeah,
it's
no,
like,
I know,
hey,
yes.
I see it. I Google chiropractic and
Yeah.
it's, all these different things come up. You guys just think you can cure everything.
Right.
And there's really one answer of what we can cure.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing. And it's honestly, if I'm being, again, transparent here, it's a pet peeve of mine.
Me too.
In the profession of holistic care, whenever you see somebody call themselves a healer, or they have somebody say, oh, I heal my patients because I do XYZ. And I think we're on the same page here, but like, no, you don't.
Agreed. There's one healer.
One healer.
It's not us. It's
Nope.
Jesus.
Yes, amen.
Yeah.
So a phrase in chiropractic that we say is that we move the bone and God does the healing, meaning that we are just a mediator in the process. We find the dysfunction, we remove the dysfunction, and the innate healing power that is already within your body goes to work. God
is
already
huge.
has that happen.
This is huge because it then matters, like, where the work is coming from. Like, yes, we're doing work on the spine, but whose job is it really to care and heal, to care for your health? Like, it's you. Like, what you do matter. Your faith of your health is not into a doctor, whether it be a chiropractor or an MD, doesn't matter. Like, no, the healing is already inside of you. Like, God designed these bodies really, really well, that if we remove interference to healing and then we stack on the good things that you probably already know about, the nutrition, the exercise, the sleep,
Yep.
Morning prayer and gratitude, like, you would be amazed at what happens to thyroid numbers. You'd be amazed at what happens to anxiety.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's that simple.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. And yeah, we are not healers. There is nothing special about these hands. I say something similar, like, I'm the tool, God's the mechanic. Okay. I'm just putting things back in place. And then I get out of the way and let people heal. But when people realize that, it does something different. Because if that's true, if like you're designed to heal, then that puts confidence in what your own body does. And that then makes you immune to a lot of the psyops that happen of like, hey, you need this medication to heal. You need this shot because there's a scary virus if you traveled, or if, it's winter of death. It's like, no, we aren't the smartest guys in the room, but that stuff never works on us because we have this unshakable principle that's like, wait, I'm not scared. My body's designed to heal. Like, if that's going against that and someone's trying to sell me something from the outside that's supposed to heal me, I can immediately call baloney because it doesn't fit the principle that's been true since the beginning of time.
Right. And this is, I'll say that I think when you understand this principle, you live by it, but then we need to start to, how do we make a bigger change is we have to communicate this to our children and make sure that they understand this principle that we live by, that we make these unshakable children, that they no longer are being deceived by all of that stuff that's on the outside that telling them that no, you're made less than, God made you broken, your body's not good enough, you need this to be better. It's like, no, between my 4 kids and your 5 kids, right? The reality is that we pour in this principle to our children, and now they're making very good health decisions even when we're not there. Like, we've poured into them and we've helped create this health discernment in our children to where they can be at a birthday party and they can say yes or no to what's going on. Like, they know how to say no to the sweets. They know how to say, hey, no, I don't want to drink that. That's not good for me. Like, they're making these choices, and they do it because they understand this foundation principle that we're talking about.
Yeah. You're teaching them how to think, not what to think.
Yeah.
I love like examples of this because there's so many different questions you'll get when you're adjusting patients. It's like, how do you know all these answers? You must be an encyclopedia. I'm like, no, I don't know all the answers.
Your
And I
wife
often,
is.
yeah, I often forget what I've told somebody. I'm like, oh no, like what did I tell them? But I don't worry about it too much because I just go back to principles. I'm like, oh, I probably said this. It's the same thing every time. And one of my favorite ways to see how principles impact decision making is really with the question that we get all the time in the office. Doc, with this injury, should I heat it or should I ice it? And it seems like a simple, like non-principled question, but it's the biggest principled question because it shows something important. So back in the 1970s, the acronym RICE was invented by a sports doc. Pretty much RICE stands for, if you get injured, you want to rest it, ice it, compress it, and elevate it. It's like, oh, bring the swelling down. Like, we don't want swelling. Swelling bad? Sure. Makes it feel better. I can get back on the team. That's completely wrong.
Yeah.
Okay? And it's not just me saying this. The guy who invented it in the 70s, in 2015, retracted his statement saying, hey, it's actually not good to ice everything. And of course it's not good because what is swelling? If I sprain an ankle and my body is designed to heal and it's smart, who's telling it to swell? It's doing it itself. It's smartly causing healing. It's bringing blood flow. It's bringing stiffness to the area. It's sending me pain signals so that I don't go back out on the field and injure it more.
Right.
So yeah, we either want to do nothing, or when something's chronic past 14 days, we start to heat it because we want that inflammation. We want that swelling. That is good. That is healing. So it's just funny that, you know, people are still icing everything. But if you think about it from a principle based approach of, is your body smart or not? It completely changes it to the other side of, oh, I shouldn't ice and fight swelling. I should actually let the body do what it's supposed to do and get out of the way. And really, if it's still taking time to heal, let's boost this sucker and let's heat it.
Yeah.
So that's what I say to patients.
The only time, and I agree with you, and I say the same thing, the only time I'll tell somebody to ice is if they're in enough pain that they're trying to suck down ibuprofen.
Yeah.
Then you can use a little bit of ice to help bring some of that pain down.
I think
so
we
you're
both
not
have
taking ibuprofen.
And just so the record, we both have ice baths.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying ice is bad.
Right.
It's just, yeah, if you're trying to heal fast,
Yeah.
you want to use it smartly.
Right.
And yeah, healing fast does not include muting the pain with ibuprofen.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are benefits to ice. Absolutely. It just highlights it.
I just think that if you were listening to everything he said, because there's a lot of smart things that he just said about this, I want you to take one fundamental principle away. I'm going to say one biblical principle away from what he just said, is that if God designed your body to naturally start to create inflammation, stop thinking that you know better and that you want to stop inflammation. So it's not about, you don't need a study to prove this. We don't need a research study to prove this. You're going against God's natural mechanism of the body, right?
Yep. I mean, there's another one that we can talk about that brings up the same point that parents ask all the time is, hey, when should I be concerned about my child's fever?
Oh,
You want to talk about that?
the fever. So this is, again,
What do you
coming
do when your kids have a fever?
Honestly, I adjust them.
Nothing. Yeah.
Nothing.
You adjust
The,
them.
the short answer is nothing.
Yeah.
But I would say that you support the fever. So going back to principle is if their body has some sort of virus or thing that they're fighting off, then we know that their body is heating up to a capacity to kill off that thing, whatever that is. I don't care what it is. People are like, what virus is it? I'm like, I don't care. Doesn't matter. Whatever it is, the body's heating up to kill it. I don't want to stop it from doing that. I'm going to support them in doing that. I might even put them in a warm bath, right?
Yeah.
To help their body to fight this off. I'm going to make sure they're super hydrated. I'm going to make sure they're getting lots of electrolytes. I'm going to make sure that if they're a baby, then we're going to make sure they're getting extra nursing, because we know that whatever thing they have, the moment that they latch onto mom's innate intelligence is going to start creating the right antibodies to help give baby to fight off that, right? So they don't need Tylenol. They need to nurse. They need mom. And then if they're, regardless of what age, we're of course getting them adjusted so that a properly functioning nervous system is going to help their body to either heat up more. Sometimes we see this, right? Where when you adjust them
all the time,
they'll heat up a little bit more to fight off and kill something, and then it regulates though.
Yeah.
I think the only time you see a fever get out of control in a kid is when they have an unregulated nervous system.
Yeah. There's a really cool website if you want to look it up. It's the Seattle Children's Hospital, and they have a myths versus facts page. And fever is one of the topics. And they say, so get this, they say that unless a fever is over 108 degrees, it's fine.
108.
108. I've never seen 108.
No.
I don't know anybody who has. The highest I've seen is 106. But
Yeah.
this puts into perspective when a mom comes in and is concerned because their baby or their child is uncomfortable, they're hot, it's been a day, and they're 102. Like, what should I do? It's like, let your child be.
Yeah.
There's 3 main areas that you're going to have fever go sideways. Head injury that lines up with dysregulated nervous system. Like,
Correct.
There's a head injury, fever can spike. So
Yeah.
that's bad. Number 2 is stuck in a hot environment. So bottom of Grand Canyon, sauna for too long, hot car, obviously bad. But the third one, oftentimes people don't realize that is a side effect from fever reducing drugs. So you think about it, body wants to get the temp up to 102.
Yeah.
We bring that down chemically.
Yeah.
And the body blasts through that it's trying to do its job. It's trying to kill off everything but itself. And then the fever reducing drug wears off. Now we've got a problem.
Yeah.
So as long as you avoid those 3 things, and you let the body do what it's supposed to do, like your body's going to heal.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll often in our family, wrap ourselves or kids in blankets to help the fever along. And you know this because when you have a fever, you feel not hot, you feel cold.
Yeah.
Like on the inside, you're shivering. That's the body's attempt to warm up. And when you break a fever, that means your body is sweating,
Yes.
which is your body trying to cool itself down. So roll with that. Keep it warm until you break that, and then do that go with the body.
How, just me listening to you describe that, you have to be so amazed and marveled at God's creation
Yeah.
that the body just does this all by itself, right? What would you say to a mom who was concerned about like the febrile seizure when it gets too
that's
high?
a great question. So
Yeah.
I was super concerned about it too when I didn't know what was going on. If you've seen a febrile seizure, it's scary. Period. It's
Yeah.
scary. The biggest concern that parents have is like, oh, the fever's going to get too high. They're going to have a seizure. It's going to fry their brain.
Yeah.
They're going to have brain damage. They're going to have epilepsy. I don't know the stat, but I want to say the majority of febrile seizures are not harmful, meaning they are part of what the body goes through before the age of 5, and it's not linked to fever temperature. So the classic understanding is that the higher the fever, the more the risk of febrile seizure. No, febrile seizures are not linked to intensity or the temperature. It can have a seizure, a child can have a seizure on the way up, going into temperature, on the way down, all over the place. But the majority of the time, the body is using that as a reset,
Yeah.
and they come out of it just fine.
Yep.
But it is not linked to, hey, if they go into seizure, they're going to have a problem. We've had patients with febrile seizures. I've had family members with febrile seizures. They grow out of them. I don't fully understand why that happens. The best explanation I've heard from people older and wiser than me is like there's a reset with
Yeah.
that. And when you think about fevers in general, that holds true.
Yeah.
When a child has a high fever and they're like fever dream, like, not themselves, sleeping for a day, oftentimes after that, they're having some sort of developmental leap, going from crawling to walking, going from maybe nonverbal to way more vocabulary. So I am okay trusting, because there's no negative effects for a normal febrile seizure, I'm trusting that, hey, this is a nervous system attempt to reset, and it's healing on things that we don't understand.
Beautiful. Yep.
Yeah.
Neurological reset. Trust the body.
Yeah. Great.
Another question that we get in the office, and I think the way that I hear it phrased is, Doc, I slept wrong. I slept wrong, and now I'm messed up. So a question that I will get is, what is the best way to sleep? Or, a lot of times it's, hey, what pillow do you recommend that I sleep with?
Yeah.
What would you say?
Okay, so first with I slept wrong last night. Something happened last night. It happened just yesterday, last night. then I take an X-ray. Sorry, it's not funny because they're in pain. But yeah, if I slept long rest, oh my gosh, let's start over. Typically, people say I slept wrong last night, and then we take an X-ray and we see arthritis, and it wasn't last night that they slept wrong. They've been sleeping wrong for a decade, and usually it's on their stomach with their head turned to the side, towards or away from their spouse. So when you talk about sleep positions and sleep in general, number one priority that I think we can agree on is getting sleep. Like,
Yes.
if you're not getting sleep, I don't care what position you're at. If you need to hang upside down, you have to be sleeping in order for the body to recover. One of the few Guinness Book of World Records that they no longer allow is days gone without sleep because it is so dangerous. So we cannot sacrifice sleep. If you are not sleeping, you are not healing. That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two, you sleep for a third of your life. 8 hours a day, that's a third of the day. A third of your life is spent in a sleep position. So it matters what position you are in for the third of your life. If you are sleeping with your stomach down and your head turned to the side, like, you're likely going to have rotation in your spine, and one side's going to be worked hard and tighter than the other. Like,
Yeah.
that's just, you don't need to be a chiropractor to know that. So the best position, ideal, is on your back.
Yep.
With your spine in alignment with the curves supported. You've got 3 curves from the side. You've got a curve going in from the neck, out in the mid back, and in again in the lower back. And this is why in our office we have these things called progressive rolls that people will lay on at night and sleep on them,
Yep.
supporting their neck and their back.
Yep.
This helps not just on the musculoskeletal alignment. So, hey, I feel better, my back is more loose, great. But the deeper side of this iceberg is neurological. The curvature in the neck is called the arc of life for a reason. If you have that curvature, you've got cerebrospinal fluid and blood flow and nerve flow happening normally. When you lose that curve, it chokes the spaces that the spinal cord has around it, restricts cerebrospinal fluid by up to it's insane numbers. Like, when
Yeah.
you restore the curve, it can increase blood flow by up to 200%. So when
Yeah.
you lose that curve, it's restricting everything. So if you want your body to be healing at night effectively,
Yeah.
sleeping on your back, ideally without a pillow.
Correct.
So your head flat with a roll under your neck. That is the best way.
Talk to me about this thing that I heard of. This is patient talk, right? About this thing called the glymphatic system.
Oh, yeah.
What does that do?
Glymphatic system, that is like lymphatic, same tomato. That is what cleans your brain at night. So your brain's active, your body's working, and then you go to sleep and everything kind of calms down, except for a big system. That is your brain, your
Yes.
nervous system.
Yes.
This is where the room cleaners come in and they start tidying everything up, cleaning out the toxins and the metabolic waste that has just been built up from a day of living
Yes.
hard. Like, this is
Yeah.
normal.
Yeah.
So your lymphatic system, that drain has to go through the neck and down and into your body, like liver, all that stuff gets cleaned. Okay. Without that cleaning happening, headaches, brain fog, difficulty focusing. Long term, this is linked to neurodegeneration. So
Yeah.
Alzheimer's, multiple sclerosis, dementia, big things. So if you want to optimize the cleaning of your brain at night, you should be sleeping on your back, you should have a roll under your neck, and you should be getting 8 hours of sleep a night.
Beautiful. Do you have any recommendations for somebody who says, "Hey, does it matter my room when I'm sleeping, like the environment my room is in, or can I just can I go to sleep watching the TV? Like, what's like how do I optimize my
What do you
sleep
think?
so I can
That's what I say to
right?
them.
Yeah.
What do you think? You think it's good to watch the TV? No. Yeah. So your eyes are an extension of your nervous system. If there is light coming into your eyes, whether it's from a TV or a phone or a street light, your body is saying, "Oh, it's still daytime. Like, be on." So even if you are asleep, they've shown studies that ambient light in the room is going to decrease the quality of your sleep. So you want as dark as possible,
Yep.
either in your room or a sleep mask.
Yep.
You want ideally to be with the circadian rhythm. So when you wake up, you've got sunlight in your eyes that tells your body, hey, be awake, bring cortisol up. That's a good thing. Like, help the body be awake. And then as the light starts to dim, sun goes down, it's like, okay, getting ready for sleep. So phone before bed, terrible. Ideally not, I would say an hour before bed, you want to avoid it.
One of the things, so you and I have been camping together.
Yeah.
And I always tell patients this, the best sleep you've ever had is when you're where?
Camping.
Camping.
Yeah.
And this is one of the reasons why I think that's true, right? Is that when you're camping, you're out in nature. And then, like you said, when the sun starts to set, there's a specific type of ray the sun puts off in a sunset that helps to start to produce the melatonin in your brain so that now we can know it's time for sleep. So your brain is now like understanding it is time to wind down, right? And then when the sun goes down, now you build this fire, you have ambient light, and now you're not on a device, but you're talking with people, you're communicating, you're bringing the energy down in your body, and then you roll over in your bag and you look up at the stars, and you have you're programming and basically wiring your body to go to sleep. Versus most people, we are under artificial light until it's time to go to bed.
Yeah.
We're watching something until it's time to go to bed. You're doing emails right before bed. You're on your phone in bed. It's like, and then you go, I don't know why my brain won't turn off. Like, yeah, no wonder. You've just ramped it up nonstop. And then you said, okay, now go to sleep. It's like, yeah, of course it's not going to go to sleep, right? So I think that same concept of like, pretend that you were camping. How would you create that environment within your home? Like you said, start, what we do is once the sun goes down, try to take off all the overhead lights and just use lamps or use like low lighting.
Yeah.
And then like you said, yeah, if you can, we switched out like in our bedroom to have red lights.
We've got them too.
Yeah. To just make sure we're just, again, how do you bring down the temperature and then just take your body into the space where you're winding it down as if you were out in nature?
I think if someone's listening to this, they're like, hey, I'm not going to go camping. I don't want my neighbors to think I'm weird by having my house glow red. I think a big takeaway is literally just removing the interference. Like, hey, stop watching TV, stop doom scrolling for, I mean, even 30 minutes before bed. You will be amazed at how well your energy is the next day and how well you sleep. It's just giving your brain a chance to calm down. So, and then, yes, there's a way more you can do, but I'd start there. Here's a good question is, how can I assess if my nervous system is healthy if I can't feel or see anything? Or on the similar lines, like, how do I know if something is happening in my body if I don't feel any different after an adjustment?
Yeah. This is good. And I think this is one where the way I explain this to patients is the same way I would assess this in my own kids. Because when your kids are young, we don't have an x-ray, so we can't see what's going on structurally yet, right? But then I would say, I would almost use this, you and I love this, but we use the invert theory. And I would say, well, let me do the opposite for a second. What would a very dysregulated nervous system look like? What would a not healthy nervous system look like? That would be someone very reactive. That would be someone who is, they're very tense, very sympathetic. They're very anxious. Their tone is very tight. I would look at all these, someone who has a very like not healthy digestive system, because again, when you're in fight or flight, you're not digesting. Someone who's very high stress. And then I would say, okay, what is the opposite of all those things? Yeah. That's what a healthy, regulated nervous system looks like. A kid who is not reactive. A kid who has a good, healthy bowel movements, good, healthy gut. A kid who is calm and present. A kid who is able to be focused. And that's even for just not, I say kids, but I mean for adults.
Yeah.
How do I tell if my nervous system is regulated? Those same kind of patterns, right? We also can look at posture.
Yep.
We can look at more, functional things of my body. I know for me, I'm constantly looking at like, is my mobility good? Is my mind alert and well? Do I feel like my mind is heavy? Do I feel like my brain is slowly functioning? Like when you know what well feels like, then it becomes easy to know what unwell feels like, right? So it's not about feeling pain necessarily, but you are very in tune with how is my body functioning and what that function level should be.
Yeah, it's along the same lines as like, okay, am I standing with good posture? That's a great indication of function of the body. Like, is that improving? How is my coordination? How is my balance? Am I able to squat to depth? Like, these are all functional assessments. Is my digestive tract moving along smoothly? I see a ton of patients, mainly guys, who will come in and say, oh, I want to get adjusted, but no, I don't have anything going on with me. I feel great. There's nothing going on. Almost 100% of the time I get them adjusted and they come back and they say, oh my gosh, I did not realize how out of alignment I was.
Yeah.
Because we just don't have this awareness. Like, oh, my knee must be totally fine because it doesn't hurt. But then you get it adjusted and you realize it wasn't hurting, but it was way out of alignment. And now you're walking straight. Like, it just takes awareness with this stuff.
I want the dudes watching to listen to this carefully, because us men can get very stuck in the I'm fine zone. Yeah. And if you ask a lot of guys like, hey, how's it going? Like, I'm fine. How's your body? It's fine. Nothing is ever good. Nothing's ever great. Like, I don't know about you, but God did not call us for mediocrity. Mm-hmm. Specifically, the Bible says God did not call us for lukewarm. Mm-hmm. I don't want a lukewarm health, right?
Yeah.
Like, so as a man, I'm like, no. I don't want to live in I'm fine. It's like, hey, when you get adjusted, like you said, then they go from fine to like, oh, whoa, I didn't know that I could feel like this. I didn't know that I could think this clear. I didn't know I could be this productive. Mm-hmm. I didn't know I could be this focused. Like, I would even go a step further and say that when somebody has a regulated nervous system, then the quality of their relationships become better. The focus and intentionality I have with my kids and my wife become greater. My productivity when I'm working on my business becomes greater. Mm-hmm. Everything around me is greater. It doesn't even have to just be my physical health, but everything around me exudes is greater because I am functioning at a much higher capacity and my body is not working overtime. So it's like, who would not want all of that to be happening?
Yeah. Or when would I want that to stop?
Never.
Yeah.
So it goes back to the beginning. When did you stop getting adjusted?
Never.
Never.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
I think one of the biggest things, and I think we're both passionate about this, is like the purpose of health.
Yeah.
Oftentimes it's either selfish or vain. And I'm not saying it as a judgment. I'm just saying as culture, it's like, oh, I'm looks maxing. I want to look good for summer. And I get that. That's whatever. But that's not what health is about. And it's not even about how you feel. Your health determines your capacity to serve others or to be prepared to do good works that you've been called to. Mm-hmm. So if you treat it like that, like, hey, this is not something extra that I get to do. I am going to be the healthiest version of myself so my kids can have a dad that is energetic, that can save them if I need saving, that can love my mom with, all of these things start with the pillar of health.
Yep.
If you don't have that, everything else suffers. So imagine if we had a generation that looked at health from that perspective. Like, oh, I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing this for my calling. Like, I really think that is a change in paradigm, a shift that would answer or solve a ton of questions in our health capacity of like, oh, I don't like this food. Well, I don't care if you don't like it. Eat it because this is fuel.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to fuel your mission on this planet to be, to do what God has called you to do. Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't want to do the workout today. I'm tired. Well, that's okay. This is going to make you stronger.
Yeah.
And you need that. So the more people can understand that's where it's coming from, that big why makes your ability to overcome the how just, it's easier.
Yeah. So my why, like you're saying, comes from my dad and the fact that he lived the unhealthy lifestyle and he didn't have good health. And not only did it just affect him, but it affected me, his child, because when my dad had his life taken away way too young, no longer had my dad to go play with, no longer had my dad to teach me life lessons, no longer had my dad to give me fatherly wisdom and advice. And I remember everything watching him lose his health. I remember thinking to myself there that I will never let that happen to my kids. I will get up at 4 a.m. and do the workout. I will eat the stuff I don't want to eat. I'm going to get adjusted no matter how much time I have or don't have. I'm going to do whatever it takes to optimize my health because it's a selfish thought to think that it's just about me. My dad, when he died, it wasn't just about him. Everybody around him lost him too. So the reality is like when I'm not good, then that affects my wife. That affects my kids. And as a man, specifically, right? When we want to be providers and we want to do, you're not providing for anybody if they don't get to have you, if they don't get to have time with you, if they're not getting to be able to go hiking and be able to go out and do whatever it is. Like the moment that you don't choose this vessel first and take care of this vessel, then it's not going to matter when you can't utilize that for whether it's, like you said, God's kingdom, God's glory,
Mm-hmm.
or your family and friends.
Yeah. Take care of your body so you can take care of others.
Amen.
It's good.